Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya. Sim, thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. I see a lot of white people screaming out that the country is burning, but you all are not doing anything. So I came out and she is saying that he is burning our country to the ground and Magas yearns for the flame. Yes. You all are yearning because at this point in time, I don't know who voted for Trump and who did not vote. So you all are all in one category, as you always do to people that look like me. So I am going to say this. Enough of you all coming online to say how the country is burning. Everybody can see, even the blind see, even the deaf could hear that the country is actually being burned down, right? It's burning. So what are you people doing to salvage what is happening? Because why majority of the things going on are still happening because people that look like me are not talking. They are not out on the street. They are not protesting because they know how to protest. They know how to do it. But they have done all this for you people for how many years? But they cannot continue to do so. This year, they choose something different. That is to stay back home and have the education, which they are having, right? So what are you people that know as it stands that the country is burning down? What are you people doing to salvage this whole thing? Because I am not seeing you people do anything. What are you doing to make sure that what is going on will stop? Because the last time you all stepped out to do something, it was as if you all went on parade. I am going to ask for the last time. What are you doing to save your country as a white person? Let's get into this video.
You're still a Trump supporter? You're just gonna sit there and let the whole world call you evil and even though it is so easy not to be evil. You're really gonna allow yourself to stoop to the level of scoffing at the Supreme Court just because Donald Trump told you he was more important than them? I mean, we know y'all have bigoted beliefs, but at the bare minimum, we thought you would at least be asking some tough questions of yourself when the president that you voted for starts taking a shit all over the Constitution and trying to convince you that what he's really doing is making you a yummy sandwich. Also, while simultaneously trying to convince you that you've been misinterpreting our founding documents your entire life. I'm sorry, but what the fuck else are y'all spending so much time and energy on trying to convince your sons and daughters to sign up to defend in uniform, if not for someone's right to due process of law and freedom from cruel and unusual punishment? Because let's be real, sending someone to a supermax concentration camp in a foreign nation because they cross the border illegally is cruel and unusual punishment, especially if you're sending them there to carry out a life sentence. Not to mention it being wildly disproportionate to the offense itself. It really just shows the world that you all get off on ruining people's lives, ruining entire families, and all simply because you don't want to be their neighbor. Are you proud of being compared to Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, Khmer Rouge, the Hutu power regime, North Korea, or fascist Italy? Does that make you feel good as an American to be compared to those regimes? Look around you. Your contemptuous attitude to everyone on the entire globe who isn't MAGA should prove to you that you're actually the problem. But no, you're even blind to the fact that your dear leader keeps nightmarish company. His personal friendships and political alliances with well-known authoritarian dictators around the world should be a massive red flag for you, but you can't even see past your own personal red flag, which is placing a Christ-like blind trust in a man who wouldn't even piss on you if you were ablaze, even if you were standing right in the middle of the Oval Office. Your orange Christ is burning everything down. And y'all yearn for the flames. You literally yearn to lose everything that you've ever earned and everything that you hold dear and love just to own the libs and make America white again. And y'all used to be able to hide behind the veneer of this post 9/11 Toby Keith style, Sunday morning megachurch style patriotism. But now the veil is off. And now that little Donnie is the one at the pulpit, it's pretty obvious to all of us that your love of the USA and of Jesus doesn't quite do it for you down there near as much as your love of Trump. But again, if you had a change of heart over the last few weeks, feel free to prove us wrong. You are always welcome to grow a spine and join the movement and use your voice. To sign up to defend in uniform, if not for someone's right to due process of law.
So I think that y'all, even the white folks that are really good, like the person I just tagged who really gets it. I think you're really having some kind of maybe a cognitive dissonance from the actual root of the nation was to not give people like me, because of my skin color, due process. That is what they're voting for. They want to harm and enslave or kill people who disagree with them. That is the point. You've heard the phrase cruelty is the point. That is the point. And the Constitution did not provide due process for women or black or brown people or indigenous people. That is what they're voting for. That is what they sent their sons and daughters into war for. I know we're talking about gangs a lot, but the Ku Klux Klan is a gang that was running the country and still is in many aspects. So I really appreciate this creator's outrage and talking to a white audience, but I think you even have to fundamentally get with the fact that racism, homophobia, transphobia, misogyny means that the people that are trans and women and black and homosexual do not get due process, which is why they want to vote to criminalize those identities, assign behaviors to skin color so that they can dismiss people without due process. The fantasy about what people think America was and what many people who lost the Civil War or even fought for emancipation of black and brown people were really wanting was to get rid of due process for people that they don't think are equal to them. That is why they call women crazy, so they can put you in insane asylums and force you to have children. This is why we want to outlaw homosexuality, so we can abuse you and make you work for free. That is the point. It is the root of the nation, not the Constitution and the thing that we've been raised on for only like the last 50 years. For my money, before black people had to vote, had the right to vote, the whole country was illegitimate, in my opinion.
Is Donald Trump actually going to invoke the Insurrection Act or declare martial law on April 20th? Here's what I've gathered. Not gonna hold you, I'm actually very happy to be able to report back there's no evidence that actually supports that any of that is going to happen. There's no evidence that supports that Donald Trump is going to invoke the Insurrection Act or declare martial law on April 20th. There's just rumors. However, there's a lot of information that's kind of fueling the rumors, and I'll get into that. So this rumor has actually been around for about a little under a week. You could find articles discussing this topic all over on USA Today, on MSN, on Newsweek.com. You could literally go to any of those media outlets and you'll find, different articles talking about the rumored declaration of martial law. Now, there's two popular reasons as to why the public has kind of been speculating as to whether or not this is what the administration is planning to do on April 20th. One of the reasons is because there is a protest that is scheduled for April 19th. And then the second reason is actually due to an executive order that he signed on the day of his inauguration. The title of the article that I'm reading is, Will Trump Invoke Insurrection Act or Declare Martial Law? Here's what we know about the rumors. And you can find this article on USA Today. All right, let's get into it. Rumors are flying that President Donald Trump will declare martial law on April 20th, which also happens to be Easter. Even the rumor-checking website Snopes has weighed in on the rumors, which are tied to one of Trump's first executive orders issued on the day that he was inaugurated, January 20th. On that day, Trump declared a national emergency at the southern border of the United States, saying America's sovereignty is under attack. Trump ordered the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security to submit a joint report within 90 days over conditions at the southern border, along with their recommendations on additional actions that can be necessary to obtain complete operational control of the southern border, including whether to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. The 90-day deadline ends on April 20th. Hence why the public has started to speculate that he may, in fact, declare martial law. And actually, I want to add in another thing that's kind of fueling the rumors is how this administration has been handling their deportation of illegal immigrants. Reading directly from the article, the rumors follow weeks of Homeland Security's crackdown on deportations of illegal immigrants, including the shipment of alleged gang members to a detention facility in El Salvador, despite many of the men having no criminal records in the United States. On Sunday, when asked the El Salvadorian president's offer to take American prisoners, Trump replied, "I love it." I think the reason why people are kind of feeling like, yeah, he might lead towards martial law is because it's actually constitutionally illegal for you to send American citizens, whether they are convicted of whatever crime, to a prison overseas. That actually is a violation of your constitutional rights, unless martial law and certain things are kind of enacted, and then the checks and balances of the United States government is kind of like put on ice. You guys have to remember that martial law is the replacement of civilian government for military rule, meaning police, federal, none of that, they have no say. The courts, nobody has any say. We all have to listen to orders of the president. And being that he's kind of moving as if he does not have to answer to any of these other higher powers, he doesn't even have to answer to the Constitution, I think that's kind of why people have begun to speculate like this is really what he's going to do. However, like I said, from what I've gathered, there's no evidence that's actually supporting that that's what he plans to do for April 20th, okay? I'm not sure if that's what he's going to do in the future. But for April 20th, there's no fact supporting that. However, there is still a protest that's set to take place on the 19th. I don't care what you guys say about me relaying this message. Black people, please don't be in them streets. Please don't be in them streets. Black and brown people, please do not be in them streets, especially right now. Especially right now. If they're not going to pew you, they have ICE agents on standby ready to detain you, and they're not allowing anybody to prove their legal status, their citizenship, nothing. Okay? So please, black and brown people, stay inside. Your fight is with your money. Your money. Being that we are the number one over consumers here in America, hold your funds. The white people, they know that they have a certain type of privilege. And so they're going to go outside and they're going to protest. And I commend you guys for that. But I will continue to relay this message and repeat myself in saying, my black and brown people, please stay inside. Okay? Stay inside. I know that last protest made you feel like, oh, maybe we can go out there and protest. No. Okay? It was like that because we weren't there. I just want to make that clear. Okay? All right, so that's my take on the whole, is he going to declare it? Is he not? There you go.
So this is all I got from this video. If they like, let them declare that it's their problem. What I am saying is that my people should just be very careful, because like he has already threatened with a homegrown. And you know how crazy these people are. They are already moving wild. So what am I saying in essence is we should do what we are supposed to do. That is making sure that you are safe and your family are doing great. And like I have been saying, I've been telling you all to make sure that you educate your kids, because majority of all this news coming out, some people do not know it. I am explaining it in a way everybody will understand it. Make sure that you tell your kids, make sure you tell your nephew, your niece, and all that, they have so many rules, so many laws, policies, and all that coming out, and they are actually not constitutional. But you know when this government will make you run mad, because at this point in time, it is no longer about constitution. They can wake up one day and tell you that you are being deported for no reason. And the worst part is that you are not even given opportunity to probably to explain your citizen or something, or I just don't know how to explain it, but I am sure you understand what I am saying, right? So make sure that your kids are aware, make sure that your siblings are aware. because the way they are moving. And I am going to say, I do not want to see anybody outside. I heard allegedly that they are going to march up today. That is these people, but it is not confirmed. Stay back at home, my people, because the way things are going at this point in time, it requires that you have to stay home as usual. I am not telling people, like, if they like, let them hit the road, because they are also part of the reason. But I am not going to tell anybody to hit the road. Even people of color, if you are Latino and other, stay your butts at home. I am not even supposed to advocate for you people because of what you people did. But as it stands, it is really a very critical period. My people, stay back home. I know you are staying back home, because if you didn't show up at the first listing, and if you didn't show up at some places at the first time, why would you show up at the second time? Let these people go and fix what they messed up, because they are the ones that messed it. They think it will not affect them. It is hitting them real bad. And some of them are still standing on business that it is this man or no. That is to tell you how dumb some people will continue to be. Because that's the majority of them praising, worshiping, I mean, like, being very proud of him, that he is doing what they asked him to do. And when I ask them, what exactly is he doing? They won't be able to defend what he is doing. But one thing I know is that if you are part of the people supporting this administration, you are a very terrible person. And there is nothing anybody will tell me that will make me change my mind. Bye for now.